from my neighbor.
Yes.
I said, well, do you do your homework? I might forget every now and then.
Well,
Do you do your classwork? Sometimes I don't get it done. I look right back at the kids and say this. I wouldn't like you either. You better get your schoolwork done. Let me say this profound statement to every young person in here. Nobody's gonna give you anything. Well, if you say in our community, nothing. My sister said, nothing. Nobody's gonna give you anything. Nobody's gonna give you nothing. You've got to work hard for it. And the expectation starts with yourself. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe you can overcome your obstacles. I have overcome many things in my life growing up in inner city Philadelphia. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college. We grew up, we didn't have much at all. I grew up, my dad was an alcoholic. My two oldest brothers was gangbangers. They did 5 years each in jail. Can you believe that? For a homicide. And guess what? They weren't even there when the guy got killed.
my God.
But you know what happened? Listen to me, young people. Let me give you a strict warning. I gotta watch my time. You better watch out who you hang with.
That's right.
I know you tell them to take my kids in Calvary real quiet because they're looking at me like, ooh, y'all get some of Red Bull stuff. You better watch out who you hanging with. I ain't coming here to start no stuff. But you know what? These kids are like my own kids. I've spoken at the Georgetown Correctional Facility. I've done revivals up at the Smyrna DCC. I've been over to the Milford Stevenson's house. I see all these kids locked up that are just as intelligent, just as capable, and as wise as anybody else. But you know what? In a lot of those situations, it's because of who they was hanging with that got them there in the first place. Can we give God a hand clap and praise? Listen, adults. The kids said, now this is our day. This is youth day. Why y'all bring this guy here telling us?
Tell him.
My brothers have done nothing but did 5 years in jail. Because when their buddies killed somebody and ran away from the scene, my brother saw them running, and you know what my brothers did? Started running right with them. Didn't know what they was running from, and when they got caught and went to court, there was a woman that was in a courtroom, and she started pointing out who was guilty and saying, he was there, he was there, he was there, and looked right at my brother and said, he was there, and he was there. And they did 5 years in jail for doing absolutely nothing. So guess who they didn't want to see go to jail? Boy, when they got out, I found out every lesson that they could give me. And they made sure that I kept my feet on the right path. And they said, if nobody ever went to college in this family, guess who's going to go?
Well,
it's going to be you. And you know what? When we talk about expecting great, it has nothing to do with your stature, how tall you are and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with your economic situation. Because I read over and over again about people who have overcome all kinds of challenges to be great people. But it all deals with you believing in yourself. Let me ask these young people this. Do you believe in yourself? Say amen. You got to say it like you mean that. If you saying it like that, boy, the devil going to be like this too. You know, the devil going to be like smack, boom. Do you believe in yourself? Yes. Boom. But you got to look him in the eye and you got to say, do you believe in yourself? And give me a resounding yes. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? You young people, give God a hand clap of praise. Now let me hit you with this. There's a story in the Bible about a young man named David. Y'all remember David's story? David, 12 years old, went out there because, you know, he had to go ahead and look out after his brothers. And he went out there and there was this big guy out there named Shaquille O'Neal. No, it wasn't Shaq. I'm sorry. It was, let's get modern day though. But, you know, it was Goliath. Amen? Goliath was about 9 foot, you know. He would have made the NBA no problem in his time. He was a big man. Not just tall, but he was a big guy, big stout guy, big old sword that any of us could hardly hold up. And here comes this little 12-year-old boy, rolling up and seeing him, and he was defying the army of God. And you know what? He said, you know what? I don't care how big he is. I don't care how big his mouth is. I know who's on my side. Anybody in here a child of God? If you're a child of God, you ain't worried about no enemies, amen? And I like this about David. David said he wasn't me tell you this. In your own lives, young people, you run across Goliaths. Some of y'all might call them haters. You know, there's this one issue in many of your schools called jealousy. You're all dealing with it. And here's some of the things that I want to give you a formula for before I go back to my seat and dealing with this. 3 things you got to deal with. You got to, 1, you're going to have some critics out there. You got to learn to ignore your critics. You got to learn to trust God to show you the way. And then the other thing, when you run into challenges, young people, don't be running from them. You run to them. And you overcome them. You know, as I think about David, David was being criticized, unfortunately, by his own brother. He was talking about, what you doing out here, man? Oh, little kid, you out here trying to get to our battle. What's up with that? You better go back home, little boy. Because you ain't going to be able to do nothing with this big giant. He said, obviously, y'all can't do nothing with him either because y'all over here acting like y'all scared. And see, even in your own lives, young brothers and sisters, you're going to have people that's going to criticize you because of who you are.
That's right. Yeah.
Soon as some of you walked into the classroom, they started talking about you, didn't even have a reason to talk about you. Anybody ever had, any of you young people ever had somebody hating on you and you ever did anything? You know that, you know that. And the one thing you might want to do, even little man put his hand up. Yeah, I got some haters out there. And in the midst of that, sometimes you want to retaliate. I'm going to hit y'all with this. I'm serious. I am tired of going into these places and seeing our kids because they think, especially you young brothers, you listen to me.
That's right.
Y'all think it's being a man when you stand up and you swing at somebody because you said that they said something about you or your girlfriend. And you got to prove your manhood. And then what happens is you go ahead, you knock them out, you hit them. Yeah, you hit them good. You down on the ground. Yeah, get up. Don't you say that again. But then when you go to the principal's office, who's going to get in trouble?
There you go.
That's right.
Your hand going to be hurting. Your pride's going to be high.
That's right.
But you're going to be the one that's going to be getting in trouble.
That's right.
And the thing is that when people come against you, you got to ignore your critics.
Amen.
You know, sometimes, I'm telling you, I'm going to hit this one with basketball. Sometimes people pick on you just because of your size. Amen. They think you're small so you can't play. I remember a perfect example in Philly when I was growing up. There was 2 guys, and their stories were totally different. There was a guy named Kevin Hall. Kevin was 6'8". Big boy. And then there was a brother we used to call Munchie Mason. Mason was 5'7". And you know when you go out there and you play ball on a regular public court, you got to pick who you want on your team, amen? Now you go out there and you see them brothers over the court, who you going to pick? Of course, you see Big Kev come out there, you like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick him. And little Munch is like, come on man, what you doing, man? Don't you know me? I got game, man. I'm only 5'7", but I can beat anybody out here. And then the game started. And though Kevin was 6'8", that brother couldn't even run up the court without falling. He fell one time, his legs were twisted, he couldn't even twist them on his own. But then here came little 5'7" Munch on a fast break. He had a 46-inch vertical jump. And when Munchie took off, he could look down at Kevin and said, they should have picked me. Boom! Hallelujah! And I'm saying this to somebody in here today. You ignore your critics, regardless of where you are. I say this to young people all the time. If somebody mad at you because you get straight A's, let me say that again. If somebody mad at you because you get straight A's, you need to drop them like they are. Just walk away from them. Do not be ashamed of being an achiever in your school. Amen? Give God a hand clap of praise for that. I know too many young people today. Too many young people today are causing themselves purposely to fail classes. Because they're afraid that people are going to call them a nerd. Let me tell you something. Let me give y'all a quick background on what I did. I work for the United Way of Delaware. Every year we raise over $20 million.
All right, man.
I sit down with people. Well, let me tell you, I'm from Philly, so I got to hit y'all with this. I can go from 2 modes in Philadelphia. I can go straight hood. Y'all hear me? Then I can go to the intellect. So when I'm sitting down with a CEO of a corporation like DuPont, or Bank of America, or Wilmington Trust, of course I give them the lingo that you're supposed to give them exactly, sir. So the climate of the situation and exactly what we're trying to do is create the measurable statistics that will make sure that we get the outcomes that they need in order to make sure that we're able to give these kids the resources that they need to be able to build up our communities and be able to strive towards the excellency of what is represented by a United States citizen so that we can get these types of things that will make America safer, better, healthier, and outstanding. It's called holistic processing.
That's what it is.
And they'd be like, now I'm going to get that brother some money. I'm going to get that brother some money. And I'm sat down with people who write me checks for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Then I walk right out of there and say, you know what I'm saying, home, you know what I did? I was just rapped to that dude over there. He woke me up. I'm telling you is you can't do the people.